fuck is up, YouTube? How the hell are ya? Hope you've had a wonderful day, night, week, whatever. I want to welcome you to another installment of Rant-Radio. Now, due to the radio nature of this, there's really no reason for you to actually stick around and watch this video. You can go ahead and minimize this screen and just, I don't know, do whatever the fuck you want. Just lean back and listen to it. However, also feel free to go ahead and watch it if you want to. It's just some random Zephyr footage because that's what we're going to be talking about. Some Zephyr. Also, guys, go ahead and click on that little bell button next to the subscribe button because quite a while ago YouTube decided to be a bit of a douche and make it a bit more difficult to get videos. That way you guys are going to get notifications on every time I upload something new and you don't miss out on anything. Okay, I'm going to go through a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into it. It won't be long, so don't worry. I just want to give you guys a little heads up. We are headed very, very strongly towards the 500 sub mark. And if you guys have been following this channel since basically day one, you know that I do a platinum giveaway on every big milestone, and the next one happens to be 500 subs, which means I'm going to be giving away 500 platinum to one of you lucky motherfuckers. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the rules when the time has come. I can't tell you when it's going to be. It might be next week, depending on how fast we gain 40 subscribers. It could be next month. It could be at the end of the year. I don't know yet. It kind of depends on you guys and how fast you guys subscribe to the damn channel. But when the time comes, I'm going to give you guys, of course, a heads up again. I'm going to go ahead and explain the rules and give you about a week time to participate and get a chance to win that 500 plat. So, that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, I know my upload schedule is still kind of low. I used to do it like every week. Now I have kind of dropped down to like every 2 weeks. That is simply due to a couple things, actually. I have a very fucked up schedule. I have a lot going on right now. And it doesn't seem like it's going to become any less anytime soon. And also, my personal demand from these videos is becoming higher and higher and higher. I want the quality to be better, so I'm working on a lot of stuff. I take even more time to do these videos, and I've spent a lot of hours doing a lot of research to make sure that I really provide you guys with some good tips and trips outside of the box wise, because I don't do that generic bullshit that everybody else is doing. At least I try not to. Forgive me if I do come across as a little generic sometimes, but don't worry, guys. I'm going to try to get the upload schedule up as quickly as possible. Also, the video that I'm working on right now, or actually the videos that I'm working on right now, are taking more time than I expected. So I figured I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this quick video right quick in between, just to kind of calm you down, so at least you get something new from me. Also, I know this is not Cephalon Jizo. Don't worry, he's not dead. He is definitely coming back. No worries for that. It's just that for this special installment of Rant-Radio, which isn't necessarily a rant, but can be a rant, I'm going to be doing that with my voice because it's just quicker and more efficient. Now, enough babble. Let's get into the topic. Zephyr. Fucking Zephyr. Don't get me wrong, I like Zephyr. Zephyr is a highly underestimated warframe, and I'm going to say something right off the bat that's probably going to piss off a lot of people and tickle the hater synapses on you guys. Zephyr is a fucking tank. Just let that sink in for a moment. Zephyr is a tank. Alright, so Zephyr does offer some decent crowd control. We all know with her little cute tornadoes and shit like that and whatever. That does offer some decent, not exactly reliable, but quite decent crowd control. So that's pretty damn good. And her third ability, whatever the hell it was called, Jetstream or whatever, kind of envelops her in like this air bubble current that protects her from incoming damage, especially especially the projectiles that have travel time, but it also works very effectively against hit scan weapons. It's not like they get through at a higher rate or anything like that. It's just that they basically bounce off of you unnoticed. And it reduces quite a lot of damage, and although Zephyr has basically no armor at all, the effectiveness of her third ability is so good that she basically doesn't die anymore. And also, you know, or may know, that she has a very strange effect on weapons. Like, for example, grenade launchers or the Simulor or whatnot. And these are all pretty cool effects. Now, that is what is great about Zephyr. But that's pretty much about it. Zephyr is hopelessly outdated. She is literally a relic of the Warframe Stone Age, right? When Parkour 2.0 hit Warframe, it was the end of coptering. It was the end of wall running. Can you even remember wall running? Can you think about the void, that one room with the elevator? It has like a very large, a long generator in the middle of it or something like that. Stairs on both sides, and an elevator going up to a very high level. Anyways, in that room, there is like a secret room at the very top of the fucking room, and you had to be extremely crazy to get up there with your parkour abilities. You had to wall run and then kind of like backflip onto the other wall and wall run up that one and then backflip again, and doing that on a very, very narrow area. So all of that kind of disappeared when Parkour 2.0 hit Warframe. Zephyr was one of those Warframes that could bypass these things because of her flying ability. It's not even really flying. It doesn't feel like flying. But let's just leave it that way. Flying ability. You could basically get to very difficult to reach areas with Zephyr. So Zephyr was kind of a hack, if you think of it that way. You could get to areas that were very difficult to reach simply by flying up there with Zephyr and bypassing the whole wall running ordeal, or bypassing the whole copter experience with like a bow prime or whatever your choice was. And that was great. But since we have Parkour 2.0 and bullet jumping and wall latching and all of that, these abilities became obsolete. And not only that, but also we have Warframes that actually fly. We have Wukong. Well, he kind of hovers, but he can nonetheless move to any location on the map that he wants, slowly, but he'll get there. That's as good as flying. And of course, not to forget Titania. Titania is the only Warframe that is like literally flying in game right now, right? And Zephyr's a fucking bird. Zephyr to me is a bird frame, not wind frame. She is a bird frame, okay? And she should be able to fly, at least to some extent similar to Titania, in my opinion. So basically, Zephyr became kind of useless. She has two abilities that are pretty cool, and two abilities that are completely pointless to use. Sure, you could use her flying ability where she thrusts forward, knocking down enemies in her wake. That's not that effective. That's kind of like Rhino's charge ability. That can be useful in some situations, but not really. And also, the second ability is just fucking ridiculous. You need to kind of like dive bomb from a higher altitude in order to even make the ability work. Like in close quarters, and think about it. Seriously, 75% of all Warframe maps are close quarters. There are no large-ass like open world missions or maps where you can really, really capitalize on Zephyr's aerial abilities, okay, her aerial prowess. And that's a shame, because as a bird frame, she should be able to capitalize on that. Even Titania has trouble with that. It's doable because she shrinks down in size, and there have been a couple new rooms added to the game that are a little bit larger, but in the grand scheme of things, most of the time, you're dealing with pretty tight spaces, and Zephyr just can't really unfold her full potential, as low as it may be. And this is just talking about the first two abilities, the third and fourth abilities. They're fine, they're good. But the first and second are completely useless, or almost completely useless. They've become obsolete. The reasons why you would use those once upon a time are long gone and forgotten. Nobody needs to use a Zephyr to reach an area that is hard to reach anymore. And even if you would need a specific warframe to reach a particular point that is hard to reach, you probably wouldn't think of Zephyr first. So, in my opinion, no current warframe screams rework as loud as Zephyr does. We know, okay, Hydroid, yes, Hydroid could also seriously use a rework, but Hydroid is different because Hydroid is just shitty. Okay, Hydroid is just, I mean, he does have his perks, don't get me wrong. I like using Hydroid for what he is good at doing, but beyond that, Hydroid is a shitty warframe, in my opinion. Okay, and a lot of people share this opinion, too. It's like his abilities don't feel like they really do anything, except Pilfering Swarm, of course, right? But I think that Hydroid can wait because he's been shit for so long, he might as well be shit for a little longer. Zephyr, she's pretty damn good. She's a freaking tank with decent crowd control ability. She just has two abilities that have become obsolete due to some changes in parkour and the way everything works and moves and removing, coptering and all that. The two abilities have just become useless. So, I think in order to make her balanced, might not be the right word, but to make her more relevant in the modern age of Warframe right now, she definitely needs change. And I'm here to suggest or share a couple of ideas that I have on Zephyr, what I personally would think would be very, very cool. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with any data mines. This is no information that I have, that I caught a glimpse of anywhere. I have no idea when Zephyr is going to be reworked. I have no idea if they're going to treat her the same way they treated Limbo or Excalibur, where they just kind of completely change Excalibur, or most recently Oberon, though I do think she definitely deserved it. You guys can go ahead and share your thoughts with me in the comment section if you want. Share your ideas. Maybe you have the same ideas as I. If you love the ideas that I'm saying, then hey, best way to make us heard is go ahead and share this video and make people hear it. And DE does listen to their player base, so if there's a popular idea, DE is definitely going to consider it, at least. Okay? Alright, so my idea for Zephyr would be to completely toss her first two abilities. Okay? Since they're both pretty shitty. I would like to see Zephyr have a... You know how Zephyr has those wings all over her bodies, or wing shapes all over her bodies? I feel that Zephyr kind of... The reason why Zephyr can use wind as an ability is not because she's a fucking airbender, but because she just coincidentally and conveniently has wings with which she can make powerful movements and create gusts of wind, doing whatever she wants, right? That's at least my perception of Zephyr. And I would like to see Zephyr do something like a very powerful wing flap towards the front in a cone shape, where she would just kind of flap her arms really, really hard or whatever, and do kind of like a Hulk smash or something like that, and propel not only enemies that are close by back, comparable with Banshee's first ability, where she shoves, does this almighty push and shoves everybody off, away from her. I'd like to see Zephyr do something like that, with a tweak, though. Zephyr could not only push back enemies, but also projectiles. Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, imagine you would see from a distance a fucking bombard shooting grenades at you, rockets at you, and those things are slowly incoming, and you could actually push them back. Not necessarily straight back at him to hit the bombard, though that would be cool too, but just deflect the damn thing into a different direction. I think that would be pretty awesome if you could kind of like deflect damage that way and also push back enemies, knock them down even perhaps. I think that would be kind of cool. A cool, simple, very cheap ability to use to kind of help you out and get you out of a tight situation maybe. I think that would be kind of cool. The second ability could be the Jetstream ability. The third ability could be her Tornado ability that she already has. I wouldn't change those two, to be honest, because they're pretty okay the way they are. And the fourth ability, and here's where I'm going to get a little bit radical. I feel that Zephyr would really, really do well with a similar mechanic as Excalibur. Okay, you know, you press that 4 button and Excalibur pulls out his Exalted Blade and he's in this different Excalibur Exalted Blade mode, if you will. I think that Zephyr could really capitalize or profit from something like that as well. Imagine Zephyr would, if you press the 4 button, Zephyr would sprout wings out of her back that would kind of protect her from incoming damage from behind, just because it would make some sense, I guess. And, it would just kind of generally make her maybe a little bit tanky for projectiles coming from behind or whatever. Or if you block while her wings are out. And you really have to keep in mind this is going to be similar to the Exalted Blade mechanic. Okay, so as you can block with Exalted Blade, Zephyr could block with her wings as well, and she would like block incoming damage from the front upon while blocking, and maybe even kind of deflect the incoming damage. In this case, straight back at the enemies and allow them to take damage, or make them stagger, or whatever, something interesting. Upon spamming E, for example, Zephyr could violently flap her wings around, like slash wings, and do like a melee attack for close enemies, but also kind of like shoot out her wings like razor blade feathers or something like that. It could be made out of actual mechanical reproducing blades or blade feathers or something, but it could also be animated to look like energy, which would probably make a little more sense, I guess, if anything that I'm saying makes sense. And she would just kind of like propel these things with like some cool animation, some cool combo forward, and just slash and puncture enemies that are in her way. Of course, this could be pretty powerful, as Exalted Blade is also kind of powerful, and I just think that this would be really, really cool for Zephyr. What I also would love to see in that particular mode is that Zephyr could actually take to the sky and fly. Now, mechanically, I don't know how you would do that. Perhaps, I don't know, running enables her to stretch out her wings, and running becomes gliding if you jump off of the ground. If you touch the ground, she immediately puts her feet back on the ground and continues running normally, but with her wings stretched out. But as soon as you like jump off of the ground, you kind of go into like fly mode and just kind of like glide everywhere. And that mechanic can be very similar to Titania's flying mode, because I really feel that Zephyr should be a Warframe that can actually fly, okay, and not like thrust forward in intervals. It just doesn't feel right, you know what I mean? And also, just like Titania, I feel that Zephyr should be able to hover in the air. Once you take to the sky and you just don't do anything, don't touch anything, let go of the keyboard, she would just kind of like flap her wings and suspend herself in the air. I don't care if she would slowly descend to the ground while she's doing that, in order to kind of like make her feel more like a bird or something due to, I don't know, fatigue, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. But something like that would be fucking amazing. Because this way, if you would imagine that Zephyr could do these things, she would be really, really fucking useful. She could protect herself while she's flying because her wings are protecting her, more or less. She can be a little bit tanky because she could kind of like block with her wings and stop incoming damage. Could be like a really, really hard shell or something like that. You could provide some quick crowd control by shoving enemies back with the first ability, the reworked ability. And I think the idea of Zephyr really being able to suspend herself in the air would be pretty fucking awesome for Zephyr. Because she's a bird, for fuck's sake. She should be able to hover in the air and attack from above or something like that. Imagine if you've played Tekken, you know Jin Kazama, okay? Jin Kazama goes into devil mode and his wings sprout out and whatever, and he does all this crazy shit with it. Something kind of like that. Like an alternate mode for Zephyr that grants her some other passives and other abilities and whatever. I think that would work really, really, really well for Zephyr. Now, of course, the rework could be anything else. It could be a multitude of different experiences that you could inflict on her, abilities that you could give her, and she'd probably still turn out great. But in my mind and the way I perceive Zephyr, I think that would really help. Bottom line, at the bare minimum, the first two abilities need to fucking go because they are outdated. They don't work. They do work, but they're just not useful, okay? What Zephyr's first two abilities do, a bunch of other Warframes can do better, okay? And they're kind of annoying to use, especially in close goddamn quarters. You can't feel free with Zephyr with that kind of ability, but if she could shove enemies back with the first ability, that'll work in any space. You know, it doesn't matter if you have a large space. That would work fine. The second ability is going to be her jet stream. That'll be unchanged. The third ability would be her little tornadoes or whatever. That would be unchanged. And then the fourth ability would be this alternate mode, with which you can alternate between running along the ground and actually gliding up into the air. That way you can really adjust and adapt to situations and do a lot of freaky shit with it. I mean, imagine. Wouldn't that be cool? Or is this just crazy talk? I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas on what Zephyr could be, what she could do? Do you even agree that Zephyr needs a rework, or do you think she's perfect just the way she is? What do you love? What do you hate about Zephyr? Let me know in the comment section below. I really, really look forward to your input and your feedback on that subject, because I hear a lot of different opinions on Zephyr, and I'd love to hear yours as well. And if you agree with this topic, if you agree with my ideas for Zephyr, if you'd like to see something similar, or maybe you love it so much that you think, oh yeah, this is definitely the way to go, why don't you just leave me a little thumbs up? And maybe even share the video to spread the word. Who knows? Maybe this thing will gain a lot of velocity and someday impact DE, and maybe even make them consider doing these kinds of changes or similar ones to Zephyr. Or not. Who knows? So for now, this is going to be it. That's all from me. Yeah. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon, as fast as I possibly can, and thanks for watching again. And if you want some more videos, let me know what the fuck you want to see. Until then, guys, have a wonderful day. Have a good time waiting for fucking TennoCon. If you're bored, hit me up in-game. Alright, guys. This was your host, Pseudocron, with another installment of Rant Radio Zephyr Rework. Have a good day. Peace out.